Welcome back to Satisfactory, everyone. My name is Kylo, and today we need to make a more power, baby. Last time we worked on this starter factory, finishing up all of our basic item production and all of that jazz, and now it is time to get off the dreaded compacted coal power that we've been using for the past, well, 100 hours. And if you guys did not know, while we were building this, I also have been researching a lot of drives, and I mean a lot. There's one specific recipe that I've been trying to get called heavy oil residue, because we need that to make a diluted packaged fuel plant. Now, I got the diluted fuel forever ago, but just now I have finally unlocked the heavy oil alternate, which turns 30 crude oil into 40 heavy oil, along with some resin for future plastic and rubber production for storage, but that doesn't really matter. What we really like is this heavy oil residue. Combine that with this alternate right here, which is 30 heavy oil and 60 water to make 60 fuel. So all we're doing is we're just throwing some packaged water into our heavy oil residue to get double the fuel. This is a phenomenal recipe. Now, we do have to use packaging and unpackaging and all that stuff, and packaged water and all that jazz, but hey, it gives us an opportunity to make a good sized factory and make a more power, baby. To make all this power, we need to go all the way back over to the blue crater over there. Now, conveniently, this is where we set up our compacted coal plant, so it's just a hop, skip, and a jump away, and we are over here. Just takes a few seconds. And this is our current power setup. 30 generators fed by a bunch of assemblers making compacted coal. Now, it's not even fully optimized. We could use another 2 coal generators, but once we get our fuel plant built in this area, we can get this massive eyesore out of my save. Good riddance. But to do that, we need 2 bulk packaged water and, well, harvest some oil, combine all that, and throw it into a few generators. Real quick, let's go over how much power we're going to produce here. And so we're going to make 1,600 fuel total through our packaged fuel. So 1,600 fuel goes into generators, and they will consume 20 per generator. That means we need 80 generators total. 80 generators times the new 250 output is going to be 20,000 megawatts. So this plant running at full capacity will produce 20 gigawatts. And that should be plenty of power for us to get through some more basic production and maybe even into a turbo fuel plant here soon. Now, some people might be wondering why I don't just make turbo fuel, considering I have compacted coal right here, and that is a great question. The answer is I've never done a packaged diluted fuel plant. That may surprise you in my many hours in the game, but I've never made one. So I figured now is the time more than ever to go ahead and make one. So I'll give you the skinny on what we're about to do. We're gonna make a bottling facility right here that is then gonna go up an elevator to big platform. Big platform will supply the generators and all the refineries and packagers for our little build here. It's that simple. Now, today's gonna be focused on the production, but we will be doing some designing and stuff along the way, so strap in. Now, before we start building, there is one crucial milestone that we do need to unlock, well, to be able to make fuel power, and that is the fuel power milestone, or the petroleum power. Over the last few hours of gameplay, I've made sure to box up some plastic and rubber from one little oil node, just so we have enough for, coated concrete and milestones, and to be able to build the generators as well, because we're not going to have plastic and rubber automated until after this fuel plant is done, because that resin will then get turned into plastic and rubber, and then we have to figure out a way to export it back to the starter factory. But that's a whole nother issue for future Kylo to deal with. Some of you may also notice that in tier 2 we still have a milestone called jump pads to do, and this I'm trying to make sure that this is the last milestone that I unlock, just for the meme, because it's a very pointless milestone. I don't need it. Back to my glorious fuel power. All we need is a little bit more rubber, and we are ready to send off.
Milestone reached. It is my honor and privilege to inform you that the fuel-powered generator, as well as the industrial fluid buffer, are now available. Due to a lack of gold in your sector, Factorio will serve as a suitable replacement to construct the fuel-powered generator. Your research into this element was valuable. In fact, you in particular are my most valuable pioneer, but don't tell the others I said that. It would be bad for morale.
Sheesh. I am the favorite child, yes. Okay, so now we have the fuel power unlocked and whatnot. It's kind of time to start building, but I do have to get back over there, so let me do that real quick. Wait, stop, I lied. There is something that we have to do before we go over there. Something that I've been wanting to do for quite some time is unlock the power augmentor. We have all the stuff now. Due to our hard drive exploration, we picked up a bunch of computers. So we have enough computers to do some milestone stuff. So we're gonna unlock this thing, hey, just like that.
Power augmentor unlocked. Summer sloops naturally harvest. Yes, harvest energy from distant sources and distribute it locally. The power augmentor supercharges summer sloops by feeding it local power, increasing its harvesting range and efficiency, and thus power output. Basically, the more power it's given, the more it provides.
Do not loop the loop organ. It will shred and tear and unravel the threads, many temples burned.
Good to know, that confirms that hypothesis.
Well, I'm getting trolled by 2 aliens, or 1 alien and 1 AI? I don't know. But enough yapping, let's place this suck. Oh my god, it's massive. And I don't have summer sloops. One moment, please. Ah, there you are. Yoink. Okay, and we are back and ready to place down the power augmenter now. And by golly, this thing is massive. And I assume I'm gonna get some cool animation, I hope. I thought there'd be more. What? The trailer made it look different. There must be another thing that... Oh, do I have to connect it to power? Hold on. There we go. No? Aw. Okay. Well, this thing will eventually do stuff and things, I hope. Why? That thing sounds insane, dude. Oh, it tells you your boost and then your stack. Oh. Well, that boost, like, that boost is insane, actually. What the heck? Okay. Boosting by 525. Huge. We have tons of power now. And we're gonna have even more. And once we boost, I just now thought about this. Once we boost our fuel plant, we are gonna make what, an extra 10% off of power, which is nice. I completely forget about this so much. That's super dope. There's so much power to be had in the world now. This is insane. I want to see this thing float. I know it can. I just don't know how to make it float. Do I have to feed stuff into it? Do I have to, how do I feed? Oh, do I have to, oh, there's another tier in the MAM, isn't there? What is the next tier? Power matrix. The heck? I just need 50 singularity cells. Yeah, because I know how to make that. Yeah, definitely. Okay. Well, I assume that is to be uncovered later on. But that's enough of the new stuff. Let's go and start building this gosh darn power plant. Because boy knows we need more power. That's definitely what we need. Okay, so I've hopped over here at the Blue Crater, and the first thing that I've kind of started doing is actually making the fuel generator blueprint itself. Now, that's kind of like one of the last things that we're going to do, but I find these fun, and I wanted to try my hand at a new blueprint, and this is pretty dense. There's a lot of stuff going on here, but the gist of it is we have set up like these frame pillars that have foundations on top of them just to get a certain height, and then we're also adding these roof panels on top, the fix-it ones, kind of like what we did at our starter factory with the cooperative finish or the gold finish on top. Now there is some Z fighting here as well, so that's kind of subject to change. I'm not sure, but most of the Z fighting you can't really see, especially because we're going to be walking about this height, right? So we're not going to see a whole lot of it. We obviously have our pipe connection done right here, so we can just hook up our pipes to the next one. And then also for power, I have locked in a, let's see if I can grab a power connection right here that is connected to our generator down below by a second one. And then this one comes out here, so we kind of run along the back and just connect them and hide our power cables, so it doesn't look like you know, power cables everywhere. But I've kind of added this like design on all 4 sides. Work on the last one right now as we speak, and so basically it's a little weird to kind of get this look, because if we look at these, you can see the pillars are actually clipped in by 1 meter on this, and that is to give enough space for us to make this little area here and have these lights and whatnot. There's actually not really a lot of lights going on these, and so that might be something we look into later down the line with the enclosure having to incorporate lighting, because lumen is, you know, something we always design with. If you're new to the channel, we always try to make sure our builds are lit well with lumen and whatnot, and it can sometimes be a challenge, that's for sure. So we're gonna go in freeform here. and do our normal little pillar trick thing to get these things lined up. Oh, hey, not like that, like so. And then we snap to those right there. Get this one out of the way like that. Snap this over here. And actually what we end up doing here is we bring these out because we actually need these snapping points here for, so basically we built off of the backside here. So if we need to go 1 meter forward here for the snapping point for the supports for the pillars, we're going to do it on the outside here. We're going to do the same over here. We then just grab our support pillars and we can snap them to the beams, not the 1 meters there. We snap them to the beams, and then we can delete these ones and build these guys back off of the extra snapping points we made. Remove those, and now you can see they're kind of wedged in by 1 meter. And this means it lines up the same as everywhere else. So if you ever want to kind of clip these pillars into these supports, you just have to get a 1 meter snapping point further in, just like I did. There's going to be a lot of small detail stuff in this video. I'm trying to not make this specifically about design, but I can't really help kind of bouncing between production and designing. And then obviously for like the last bit of this design, we're just going to grab a beam and do stacks like this, and up here as well, if it'll let me. And then we have to make the frame around it, so we just snap off of the floor here. But yeah, it's not super like difficult or anything like that, but there's just a lot of like clipping and stacking within each other, which is, you know, we do a lot of that around here. Obviously this blueprint's definitely taking a little bit of time, but not too crazy, but definitely it's taking some time. But once we get this down, we got to start working on the packager stuff, because packaging water will be the first thing that we kind of set up down here, because I want to build from the bottom up. So I want to build from here and kind of work up, get that area kind of mostly framed out, and then we'll work on the big platform up here, which will be for refineries, packagers as well, to unpack that fuel, and obviously all 80 generators, which is going to be quite a lot of space. Okay, so I've jumped forward, and we are going to structure this video in a couple parts here. So the first part will be the water area. Now this is not actually like finished or designed. This is just the framework and whatnot, but I did design a blueprint, and I got a little carried away building it slightly after that. But this blueprint houses our packagers for water extractors here, and you'll see that I'm not actually using these floor holes here. I'm just clipping them in because there's still some slight bug issues with fluids and belts actually that we are working with. If you guys are ever making floor holes like this with conveyor holes, and this conveyor is supposed to connect and you get the audio cue and everything, there's a lot of times where if you pull out a belt, it'll highlight this. That actually, it'll highlight the elevator here. It actually means that you have to connect a belt. So all you have to do is click with your belt and build it. And then when you pull out another belt, you can no longer like build a belt on it. It's super annoying, but it's the only way to get this inventory to actually connect. Now I don't have any actual inputs yet, but this is a thing, and it is quite annoying to think that your whole factory is going to turn on and then you go and then they're stuck in the lifts and they're not actually connected. So I have to, on top of this, go connect the lifts, and on both sides actually, on the input and output everywhere, which is unfortunate. But this is the general design of our packagers. Now we are going to be packaging a 1600 fluid, right? So let's go over the math real quick. So 1600 fluid, and you'll see some of these are underclocked, and I'll show you why. Okay, so to explain this, I've opened up Obsidian. Yes, I am copying bits here. This app is actually pretty amazing, specifically to show people on stream, because a lot of people ask what we're doing. We show this, and it's a lot easier to explain. This is actually not updated to what we are doing, but it will serve the purpose. So we have our flowchart of what our recipes are going to be doing, but what we are going to do is alter this slightly to output fuel in a certain way. We're still going to output our 1600 fuel, but we want to do this in 8 different pipes, because we want to have 8 different lines of generators with 10 generators in each line. I want to make this factory pretty much not overclocked at all, because I want the option to just use a ton of shards later on and duplicate the power, or increase the fuel production to package it for trucks, let's say. I want that option available. So if I overclock everything now, then I have to make more production later. So one of the most limiting factors is that 600 per minute on a pipe. So we want to make sure we're under 300 in the case that we overclock. We don't want to have to deal with making more pipes, along with all of the like packagers, refineries, things like that. So the initial math right here is correct. So what we're going to end up doing is we are going to make 32 packagers, so slightly more, but they're all going to be underclocked to output at 50 fuel per minute instead of the normal 60. That means we can have 4 of them merged together in one line evenly and make 200 fuel in a line, which is perfectly what we need. So to do that, we also have to load balance the fuel coming in from these refineries. And so some of these refineries, I believe one of them at the end is going to be underclocked to 40 per minute instead of 60, and we will load balance the output to evenly distribute onto the packagers. And just to make our life easier, because these refineries right here that will make the packaged fuel will need 30 heavy oil residue. Instead of making 40 in 20 refineries, we're actually going to bring this up to 27 refineries and direct feed them from refinery to refinery. And you'll see that in just a second. We will also have an overflow load balance for the both water and the canisters coming out of the packagers here that will then go back into our system back here. So there's going to be a mix of load balancing and manifolding, just because this is our power plant and we don't want this backing up anywhere. So if there is ever a belt that does back up, we want that to overflow to a belt that is not backed up. And so we're kind of taking a little play out of Factorio's book here and just overflow splitting down a bus line basically. But I hope this diagram kind of helps a little bit. You can always pause like right here, screenshot, so you can see this and whatnot. And whenever you guys come in stream, I tend to show this because it is a little easier to explain. So for future builds, especially the big ones, we will be using Obsidian. Thank you, Bits, for getting me into this. Okay, so now that you understand the initial load balance of what we're trying to output, our goal of 200 fuel per line on 8 different lines, it makes it a lot easier if we can input 400 packaged fuel per set of refineries. And to make 400 fuel, or packaged water, sorry, if we need 400 and they each make 60, that's 6.6 repeating. And this might sound a little weird, but I didn't like the amount of packagers being in sets of 6.6, and I wanted them in sets of 3. So instead of doing 6.6 or 7 packagers, I decided to just make 9 and then underclock 7 of them to output at 50, and then the last 2 will combine at 25 each to make the last 50 to make 400. So 9 of these all kind of underclocked to output a total of 400 packaged water per minute. And again, they'll be taking in just the 200 water, and all of this gets sent from down here and it will get sent up our elevator shaft. It's really dark here and I don't have Sky UI, so I can't really change the time right now, but this will go up here to our logistic floor, which you can see I've already started the logistics for. And these are the sets of refineries. And this is the direct feed that I was talking about earlier, where we're taking fuel here, and I've underclocked everything to 75% or 30 output, and feeding it directly into the next one that needs 30 input. It'll receive packaged water from below, and how we're going to do this load balance is we're going to smart split our inputs. So as you can see right here, we have packaged water priority to the left and overflow to the right. So with this line needing 400 here, it will always priority split at least 60 water this way, and that will keep this refinery completely full of water and always have it available. The overflow then gets sent down here and well down the whole line. So we have a set of 6 right here, and this will consume 360. So we have an extra 40 water, which is then going to get overflow split and merged all the way at the end with the last kind of misfit refineries. You can see right here, we've already started this process right here. Everything will get merged onto this line, all the excess, and then sent into these last 3 refineries. And this last refinery is underclocked slightly more to only make 40. So instead of taking in 20 heavy oil or 30 heavy oil, it will do 20. And all of that gets sent into packagers right up here to unpack and make fuel in canisters. Those canisters are then going to get merged and load balance onto those 4 lines that we had over here. If I can zoom in, maybe. The other 4 lines from over here, from the elevator, are for the canisters. So we have 8 lines total, 4 going up, 4 going down. These 4 right here will be for our canisters. We then send our fuel to our future platform for generators over there. And all of these guys, as you can see, are underclocked to 50. And I haven't started it yet, but we will be load balancing the inputs here. because we're going to refer to the inputs of the packagers. We're going to have the inputs in sets of 8. So 8 packagers will be one kind of set of inputs, and the outputs are going to be half that. So there'll be 4 as an output and 4 as an output. But the inputs will need 400 fuel each. And to get that, we need 7 refineries, because 7 times 60 is 420. So there's an extra 20 fuel right here. So we're basically going to be mirroring our water setup. An extra 20 fuel will merge 7 refineries, and then we'll smart split, again, priority split. Our first 8 packagers, sorry, they will then, an overflow of 20 per minute that will then get shot all the way down to the last set of packagers with a smaller number of refineries supplying those that will merge with the overflow from everything else and perfectly run at 100%. So that is the whole logistics setup. If you guys ever have any questions, you can leave some in the comments or in the live streams. You are totally welcome to inquire about what we are doing or what we are going to do or what we have done. So what I'm going to do now is jump forward to when all of this production is actually working, because there are some issues that we will go over on how I fix them, and hopefully you guys can fix some of your own issues. But yeah, there are some issues with this. So we're going to jump forward to when this is all working 100% and burning at 20 gigawatts of power. Okay, and we are now jumped forward right here. And future Kylo definitely did not appreciate past Kylo's optimism when referring to oil and liquids. I hadn't had any previous issues with methods that I've done before, but now 1.0, there is always issues apparently. Coffee Stain just wants us to do more work. So I initially did not have a fluid buffer at the top and gravity feeding, but now I am, along with having valves on every pipe and a pump here as well, just for good measure. Basically at the start, we were feeding from down below, which I've never had an issue with, especially even manifolding. Again, never had an issue, but for some reason I do this time. So what we did was we deleted the bottom manifold and now we're feeding from top. We also added a fluid buffer, a gravity buffer. So this is the highest point, not water, oil is getting up there, and then it is going down gravity wise to our manifold line. I've been told that you can't use manifold lines. This one is now working 100%. We basically turned off the first few machines, put an extra pump here and put valves here so there's no possible backflow issues. We then filled up the machines completely, and I mean completely. We let everything get to 50, and then we turned on the first few machines. After that, we did not have issues. But there is also one other thing that I changed, which I'm not sure if it really did anything, and that is when we initially made this pipeline, the way I built it and the way a lot of people build it is they make a straight line and then they add their junctions onto the straight line like that. Now this in previous updates sometimes worked, sometimes didn't, and you can see if we highlight, this pipe ends in the middle of the junction, and that is not where it's supposed to be. You can also see the distance says 6.5 meters. Now if you remove this and then place it back, it now says 5.1. It's much shorter and it actually ends where it's supposed to. So if you guys are having issues with, especially with junctions, but even just pipe issues at all, consider rebuilding all of your pipes that are connected to junctions if they look like they end in the middle and not like right on the end right here. So if they look like this one, you probably want to rebuild it. But if they look like this, then you should be fine. But I did that as well, so I replaced those just in case, and now we are kind of working completely fine, it seems. Been running for a fat minute without any issues, and we have all of our generator blueprints placed down. If we go up to one, we can see we are running at a completely steady 20,000 megawatts. And you guys probably have a lot of questions on, whoa, there's so much built now and all that jazz. I mean, we did stream a lot of this, and as you can see, there is a lot more built. But honestly, out of the whole aspect of designing, this is a small drop in the bucket. The next video will in fact be us making this thing look hopefully really awesome. If you guys are familiar with the channel, you know that we don't like box factories. We try to make stuff a little bit more design oriented, and this build will be no exception. We still have so much work to do, so if you guys want to see this done live, or you want more content in building and designing and all that stuff, consider checking out the live stream at twitch.tv/Kylo builds with a Z or Z. The support over September on the live stream has been insane. We just smashed every possible goal and record that I had on the channel. Obviously September is kind of a big thing on Twitch, as all the discounts and everything kind of make people go crazy. But I just want to thank everybody for all of the support. If you guys were in any of those live streams, if you guys were part of the massive level 11 hype train we had as well, I just want to say thank you again and again. You guys are what makes this possible. It takes a ton of time to build these things, and I'm not the fastest builder either. I definitely take my time. The starter factory took 80 plus hours to make, and that is, again, our starter factory and mostly out of blueprints. So you can imagine as we get deeper into the save and as these builds get massive and humongous and we break the game, they are going to take really long time. So I very much appreciate all the support. If you guys found this video either useful for the production side or maybe it excites you for what this build might turn into, make sure to subscribe, like, do all the jazz, and let me know what you thought down below. Because once this thing is finished, we are deleting this eyesore, like I said before, and our final production for power will just be this building. I'm super excited to see how this thing turns out because I don't really know how it's going to turn out. But after we do this build, we will be moving on to our highway, our worldwide highway. Well, not worldwide. We are going to get it at least from the blue crater to maybe the rocky desert, somewhere around there. It's going to be a lot of materials and whatnot, so we have a lot of work ahead of us. Whenever I get the new PC, I will be streaming to both YouTube and Twitch. I've said this a couple times now, but the live streams will be coming back to YouTube. That way you guys have the VODs on YouTube. I know it's really nice to have all of the stuff in one place and not have to go to Twitch and deal with all the ads and stuff like that. YouTube is a little bit better for that, and it's also a bit more organized. But I'm going to stop yapping. That is about it for me. If you guys want any blueprints that we use in the save, and I'm trying not to show you all of the design stuff because that will be for next episode, but if you guys want these blueprints, they are on Patreon. But yeah, that's it for me. Hopefully you guys have a good rest of your morning, evening, afternoon, whatever it is for you. And until next time, peace.
I'm slick with words, tongue sharp, you left in thirds. You pitching verbs, I knock it out, I'm flipping birds.